As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an eerie glow on the tracks, I settled into my seat on the old, rickety train. The air inside was heavy with a sense of unease, and the rhythmic clattering of wheels against rails seemed to match the anxious beating of my heart. The train had an unsettling reputation, whispered among the locals as a cursed ride. Tales of disappearing passengers and ghostly figures walking the aisles circulated like wildfire. I chuckled at the thought, dismissing it as mere superstition. As the journey progressed, the cabin grew colder, despite the summer night outside. The lights flickered, casting eerie shadows on the worn seats. I tried to distract myself with a book, but my eyes kept darting to the windows, where the darkness seemed to press in from all sides. Suddenly, a jolt shook the train, causing my book to tumble from my hands. The lights went out completely, plunging the cabin into darkness. Murmurs of fear and confusion filled the air as the train screeched to a halt. I fumbled for my phone, using its feeble flashlight to navigate the darkened aisle. Panic crept into my chest as I passed by empty seats and silent passengers. Just as I reached the front of the train, a chilling voice echoed through the darkness, sending shivers down my spine. "Welcome aboard," the voice whispered, cold and malevolent. "We've been waiting for you." My heart raced as I spun around, trying to locate the source of the voice. In the dim light, I saw a figure standing by the window. Its face was obscured, but its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. With a surge of adrenaline, I bolted toward the rear of the train, desperate to escape whatever was happening. The darkness seemed to press in around me, and the air grew heavy with an unnatural stillness. I could hear whispers all around, the words unintelligible but filled with a sense of dread. As I burst through the door to the next car, the lights flickered back to life, revealing a scene of chaos. Passengers huddled together, their faces pale with fear. But the figure was nowhere to be seen. The train resumed its journey, the incident leaving an indelible mark on all of us. As the first light of dawn painted the sky, I couldn't shake the feeling that we had crossed into a realm where the living and the dead intersected. A place where the boundaries of reality and imagination blurred into one chilling experience that would forever haunt my dreams.
My name is Tom, and I am here to recount the chilling events that unfolded on a fateful night aboard the Ainsworth Railway, the eerie tale that still haunts me to this day. As a train enthusiast, I often enjoyed documenting my journeys on various railway lines, but nothing could have prepared me for the horrifying experience that awaited me on the Midnight Express. It was a typical summer evening, and I had embarked on a solo adventure aboard the much-renowned Ainsworth Railway, known for its spectacular views and historical charm. The train was scheduled to depart at the stroke of midnight, fueling the rumors of its eerie allure. Excitement and trepidation coursed through my veins as I settled into my seat, camera in hand, ready to capture the beauty of the moonlit journey ahead. As the clock struck 12, the train set off into the darkness, carrying me into the unknown. The atmosphere inside the carriages felt uncanny, with faint whispers echoing down the narrow aisles. The weight of anticipation hung heavy in the air as the train rattled along the tracks, the sound merging with the howling wind outside. Curiosity compelled me to explore beyond the passenger cars, seeking an unobstructed view to capture the mystic night unfolding. I maneuvered my way through several empty carriages, until I reached the rear of the train, where I discovered an old and forgotten observation deck. The door creaked eerily as I nudged it open, revealing a small platform overlooking the pitch blackness below. From this vantage point, the true essence of my surroundings revealed itself. The jagged cliffs, moonlight dancing upon their edges, stretched out beside the train tracks. Slowly, the Ainsworth Railway began its ascent, ascending higher and higher into the inky blackness, seemingly defying the laws of gravity. Lost in the captivating view, I failed to notice a shadowy figure standing further down the observation deck. Suddenly, a chilling gust of wind blew the figure's hat off, revealing a horrifying face sporting a wicked grin. The stranger's eyes gleamed with an otherworldly glow, and a shiver ran down my spine as I locked gazes with an entity that seemed to exist solely to torment. I bolted back inside the safety of the train, trembling with fear. The paranormal encounter had drained me, but the strangest part was that none of the other passengers seemed to notice the presence on the observation deck, as if it had only been for my eyes to see. As the train continued its journey, the atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive. Unsettling noises echoed through the carriages, whispers that seemed to bypass my ears, directly embedding themselves in my mind. Shadows danced eerily along the walls, and I could almost feel the weight of despair permeating the air. Desperate, I sought solace in the company of my fellow passengers, attempting to strike up conversations and dispel the palpable fear that enveloped us. However, my pleas for solidarity were met with mere blank stares. And when I dared inquire about the strange figure on the observation deck, nobody seemed to recall the person's existence. Time began to blur as the hours dragged on, each minute stretching into an eternity. The once grand interior of the train with its beautiful artwork had transformed into a decaying nightmare. The once eager whispers of fellow passengers became ghostly moans that seemed to be carried by the wind itself. The haunting ride culminated at dawn when the train came to an abrupt stop at a desolate, abandoned station. We disembarked, our collective fear inching us towards the unknown. Outside, the sun broke the horizon, casting an eerie glow on the decrepit railway station covered in layers of dust and cobwebs. Horror froze my blood as I saw the face of the stationmaster who stood waiting for us, an exact replica of the menacing figure I had encountered on the observation deck. Wordless, we followed him into the station, knowing that escape was impossible. The realization dawned upon us that the Midnight Express was a cursed train, forever destined to ferry the souls of those unfortunate enough to step aboard. Now, as the stationmaster leads me toward an unknown fate, I can only pray that this horrifying tale reaches the world. May it serve as a warning to those who dare ride the railway lines at the witching hour, for the Midnight Express and its cursed passengers are eternally seeking company in the darkest corners of one's imagination. Title: The Haunting Ride of the Midnight Express. It was a chilly autumn night when I boarded the Midnight Express, a decrepit old train with a reputation that sent shivers down the spine of anyone who dared to speak its name. The station was eerily quiet, the platform bathed in the cold glow of flickering overhead lights. Reluctantly, I stepped onto the platform, clutching my ticket tightly in my hand. The train's windows were fogged up from the inside, making it impossible to see what lay beyond them. As I found my seat, an unsettling feeling settled over me, like eyes watching from the shadows. The seats were worn, and the train's interior had an air of neglect. The conductor's voice crackled over the intercom, announcing our departure. The train pulled away from the station with a jolt, its rusty wheels screeching against the rails. The rhythmic clatter of wheels against tracks filled the air, accompanied by an occasional ominous creak. As the train ventured deeper into the darkness of the night, I noticed the other passengers seemed equally uneasy, their faces pale and eyes darting nervously. My heart raced when the train entered a tunnel, plunging us into total darkness. The only source of light came from the dim bulbs overhead, casting eerie shadows that danced across the walls. Suddenly, the train came to an abrupt stop, the brakes screeching like a banshee's cry. Panic spread through the carriage as passengers exchanged worried glances. The intercom crackled to life, but the conductor's voice was distorted and garbled, as though it came from another realm. He muttered something about unfinished business and lost souls, sending a chill down my spine. As the lights flickered, I caught glimpses of shadowy figures moving in the corners of my eyes. Whispers filled the air, carried by an otherworldly wind that seemed to pass right through me. Desperation took hold as I realized the train was trapped in this dark abyss, a realm between the living and the dead. The passengers, faces contorted in fear as the train seemed to lurch forward, then backwards, as if being pulled by invisible hands. The air grew colder, and my breath misted before me, forming shapes that seemed to beckon. In a final crescendo of terror, the train's windows shattered, and a bone-chilling wail echoed through the carriage. The ghostly figures drew closer, their eyes hollow and their forms translucent. As they reached out with ethereal hands, I closed my eyes, unable to bear the sight any longer. When I finally dared to open them, the train was back at the station, bathed in the first light of dawn. My fellow passengers were gone, and the train appeared as though it had never moved. Trembling, I stumbled out onto the platform, vowing to never speak of that night again. To this day, the Midnight Express remains a haunting memory, a tale I share only with those who doubt its existence. But I know the truth, and I carry the weight of that spectral journey with me, a constant reminder that some stories are too terrifying to be forgotten.
If you enjoy listening to scary horror content just like this, then hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you are updated on when I post a new video.